Alright guys, in today's video we have some very interesting information to go over and discuss here in regards to Sony Santa Monica and their next game. Apparently it was just announced that the head of Sony Santa Monica, Shannon Studstill, has actually departed and is over there at Google Stadia. Apparently they gave her a new studio that she will be the head of, and you have to assume it's because Google wants to get a big game like what we saw from Sony Santa Monica in 2018 for Google Stadia. And so we're going to talk about that. We also have some other information to go over in regards to Sony Santa Monica's next title, and it has to do with them wanting to, quote, set the bar, unquote, for what we can assume to be PlayStation 5 visuals. Which is interesting because this is not the first time we are hearing a studio who is currently developing a PlayStation 5 game talk about trying to really set the visual benchmark. So before going any further, if you think you're going to enjoy the video, or if you do enjoy the content in general, be sure to hit the like button. It really helps the videos out more than you know, and hit the subscribe button as well. It would be greatly appreciated. But reading here says that earlier today it was announced that Google Stadia is opening a new game studio, with industry legend Shannon Studstill set to lead the team. Previously heading up Sony's own Sony Santa Monica studio, she leaves behind some big boots to fill, but PlayStation has wasted no time in putting forward a fitting replacement. The new head of the God of War developer is Yumi Yang. Her name might not be a particularly familiar one, but she's described by Sony as a 19-year PlayStation veteran with substantial experience and knowledge of Santa Monica's output. Her project management prowess and meticulous oversight of 2018's God of War helped the title fully realize its groundbreaking potential, reads the platform holder's statement. With her vast experience and deep understanding of the studio's distinct creative DNA, she is perfectly positioned to lead Santa Monica Studio to a bold and exciting future. So there you go. This is a pretty significant thing, and obviously big news in regards to the God of War sequel, the next God of War game we're going to be getting. There's no doubt that as of right now, Sony Santa Monica is, full steam ahead with that. There's no secret there. We don't know when Sony plans to talk about it. We don't know how long it's going to take them to complete this game. We can assume it's going to take some time, though, since God of War just came out in 2018. But this is definitely a big deal, and I have to say that, honestly, I have to imagine the only reason that this studio head, Shannon Studstill, was willing to leave Sony Santa Monica was simply because Google offered her, a money offer that she just couldn't refuse. A lot of people are looking at this like this is a massive downgrade for her as a creative. I don't necessarily want to look at it that way because I feel like it's a little bit unfair, because if you have to imagine, she's probably looking at it as an opportunity to really just create something brand new and fresh. We know that people who are very creative and have a lot of talent, this is something they like to frequently do. In fact, we don't even know if Cory Barlog is the one that's going to be directing the God of War sequel. That's still kind of up in the air. In fact, I believe he said that he would like to move on and do something completely new. But we have the replacement here, Yumi Yang, where PlayStation is coming out here because this is how you know this is pretty significant. They actually had to comment on it, and they're basically saying, look, like, she's a 19-year PlayStation veteran, and she's, apparently played a very big role in the development of 2018's God of War. So, that does give me a lot of reassurance, and I don't look at this as bad news per se, but it is a big move for sure. I don't think that this suddenly means that the God of War sequel is going to be some kind of dumpster fire or it's going to get canceled or anything dramatic like that. But it is a significant thing when you see an individual such as Shannon Studstill departing. She was the head of Sony Santa Monica, and so you have to imagine she played a very huge role. I think she was actually featured in the documentary, Raising Kratos. And if you want to understand just how big of a role she played when developing God of War 2018, all you have to do is go watch that and you can get a clear understanding. So hopefully this isn't any sign of something bad that's going to happen. I think that this is just the way the industry goes. Again, I have to say I'm particularly disappointed to see she's going over to Google Stadia, because I just feel like I don't think that Google can really do anything, at least anytime remotely soon, to kind of change the perspective that people have about their platform right now. But I understand why they're doing this. I understand why Shannon Studstill has decided to take this offer. And so we'll just see how it all plays out. But definitely a big move there, and will certainly have, most likely, I don't want to say a significant impact on the God of War sequel, but it will have some impact nonetheless. But moving on from that, we're going to be talking about a few job listings that have recently popped up that talk about Sony Santa Monica wanting to set the bar visually when it comes to their next game, which we can assume will be a PlayStation 5 exclusive. It says here that according to a recent job listing from Sony Santa Monica Studio, it's searching for a senior visual effects artist to create, quote, jaw-dropping visuals that set the bar, unquote, for the PlayStation 5. The chosen candidate will also be responsible for bringing, quote, visceral epic experiences to life, unquote, and building effects that improve gameplay with the award-winning God of War development team. Last month, narrative animator Kim Newman posted a picture of herself in a motion capture suit that many took as a hint for the next God of War installment. Since then, Santa Monica Studio has listed several job openings, all equally hinting at the highly anticipated installment. And it says here that in a development documentary called Raising Kratos, Sony Santa Monica Studio revealed how a Herculean effort went into the 5-year process of making God of War for the PlayStation 4. Also, creative director Cory Barlog is not the kind to simply rush development just to get a product out on the market. Hence, it's fair to say the next generation entry of God of War will not be here anytime soon. Seeing Kratos as part of the launch lineup of the PlayStation 5 at the end of the year would be a dream. A more likely release window would perhaps be somewhere in 2022. So there you go. We have yet another studio here, that being Sony Santa Monica, that is claiming they want to set the bar for visuals on the PlayStation 5. Now, it's worth noting they don't directly mention the PlayStation 5 in their job listing, but we have to be real here and understand that that's exactly what they're hinting at. It's just like, Blue Point Games, where they're talking about their next remake, which is more than likely going to be a Demon's Souls remake. They plan to set the visual benchmark as well. And so, as you can see, a big emphasis from Sony's teams when it comes to the next generation is going to be visually. And I have to say, it gets me very excited to see what these studios are going to be able to do visually, because one of the things that has really stood out to me when I bought a PlayStation 4 Pro and played many of the exclusive titles on it is just how good many of these games look, especially a game like God of War. I was actually pretty blown away by how amazing God of War looked visually, and all I could help but think to myself was, wow, for a console that's supposed to be significantly less powerful or capable than the Xbox One X, I can't help but feel extremely impressed with what I'm seeing, at least from Sony's first-party studios. And this is why every time we have conversations about the power factor when it comes to the next generation, many of us come to the same conclusion, and that is it's only going to matter so much at the end of the day. The thing that's really going to make a console shine is what talent, what developers are able to do. And as you can see here very clearly, first-party studios or studios that are partnered with Sony, and I have to imagine many third-party studios as well, are going to really be trying to push the bar visually. And this is something I have to imagine that a lot of creators and a lot of developers like to do when they're creating next-generation games, is they want to make the best looking game. They want their game to stand above the rest visually, because even though gameplay is king, there's no denying that when we see new games, when we see games coming out alongside the launch of a new console within the first year or two, the thing that really catches people's eyes literally immediately is how the game looks. And so I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that Sony Santa Monica will in fact be able to set the bar for what they're going to be able to do visually on the PlayStation 5 with their next game, which will most likely be a sequel to God of War. Now, there has been talk for a little while now that they apparently have a new IP in the works that will be separate from God of War, and that is in fact the game that Cory Barlog is going to be directing. We don't really have any official information on that yet, so we're going to have to wait to see if that does turn out to be true. But one thing you can take to the bank is the fact that we will see a God of War sequel, and it's going to be absolutely massive. And if I had to put my money on it, I would say that it's probably going to be coming out sometime in 2022. I think that makes the most sense, especially since we've been hearing that apparently Sony wants to try to have Spider-Man out as soon as possible. And with that being said, I'm going to be really interested to see what you guys have to say about this. I think that this is news that is pretty significant. Shannon Studstill has left Sony Santa Monica. Unfortunately, she's going over to Google to head up a studio there for the Stadia platform. And it's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out when it comes to the sequel for God of War. So let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. And make sure you let me know what you think about these job listings saying that they want to set the bar visually with their next title. Do you think they're going to be able to do that? And just let me know what you're expecting in general from a God of War sequel. So yeah, do that. Also leave the video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.